Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. All right, let's go ahead and take a look and see what is our story today, as well as any signs and symbols. We got chipmunks for starters and a Six of Cups. Somebody would like to have a magical tea party with another person. I feel like two people like to. This could be one person missing another person that it used to just be like magic, talking to them, just whiling away the time, laughing, talking, maybe even about silly things, important things. It feels like there were some great late night conversations that somebody's like, God, I'd love to just sit and just, you know, let our minds wander again. Wheel of Fortune, we have a very mystical cosmic vibe coming through. I definitely keep getting like funky 1970s psychedelic music tracks, like somebody's listening to the entire like Doors album or something, turning on a record and just letting the whole thing play all the way through, late night, kicking it. But I feel like this is the perfect time to just relax. I feel like this is a nighttime story. This is somebody who's like really enjoying another person's company. They could be, I feel like, eating snacks, specifically like things like peanuts in shells and or not sesame seeds, sunflower seeds or something, like spitting out just something you can nibble on and just relax for a really long time and like bond this way. This is a really unique, I just want to bond with this person that I consider a soulmate. This may not have anything to do with love. This could be friends. This could be, like siblings. This could be family members, sometimes family comes to visit and they arrive at like 1:30 in the morning, and instead of going to bed, you just are up until dawn just talking and reminiscing and kind of doing nothing other than sitting in each other's energy. That's what I get off of this. That's what somebody is longing for, but the opportunity is coming or is going to arise. Especially because somebody's going to make it happen. This almost feels excuse me, a little bit like it could be two people feel the same way, but it could be more than two. This is somebody traveling to get to another person, and like, I just can't wait to be there. I just can't wait to be in your presence. I definitely feel like somebody could see a lizard today as well, like scampering like really swiftly. And it's like, that's what I want to do. I want to scamper over to get to, how lizards tend to like dart across rocks and then they tend to go and tuck themselves into some hidden space. That's kind of what I feel like this is. I want to go and tuck myself into, like that wonderful, comforting den. I don't know if somebody as a kid like used to like to make those little forts, the pillows and blankets, and make a little fort in the living room. But I almost feel like this is the grown-up version of that. Like, I can't wait to just spend time with somebody that I really care about. And I want to kind of hide away from the rest of the world. I want to dart into a place. There's lightning wherever somebody is. I'm not sure which one of these characters. And we keep seeing like little puffs of smoke. I don't know if it's like hookah smoke or vaping smoke or, food that has some kind of wafting scent. But the electricity in the air is also wafting. We have the Lovers. Okay, so this is not merely friends. This is two people that maybe need to just sit in each other's company for a really long time and then kind of soften that energy and kind of like melt into each other. I feel like they're going to sit around and talk for hours before they ever get to that kiss. This feels like someone they've been dreaming about being comfortable and just sitting for many, many hours in this person's energy that they view as a kindred spirit. But obviously, this person is maybe at a distance, since we do have the traveling here on that Chariot card. But it's also about like, I just feel like my energy would be so calm with them. We could have a Cancerian wanting to travel toward either a Leo, an Aquarius, a Scorpio, or a Taurus. We also do have some Scorpio and Pisces and Cancer coming in on that Six of Cups card. Now we've brought in Gemini. This keeps feeling like two people that are very connected to each other, very peaceful with each other. But this, I don't know if this is going to be their first kiss or if it's just like, I want to sit with this person for hours, relax, listen to music with them. This keeps looking to me like we have a record. And I can't see it in any other way. It keeps looking like, let's relax, let's like listen to music, let's talk all night. And then finally, the kiss. Finally, we get to the next phase of this. Again, very mystical, magical, right? We have dragons, we have on the chariot card, we have magical chipmunks, we have wizards, and we've got mermaids and Pan here. So all kinds of magical, mystical energy around this. This could be playing out in somebody's fantasy. This could be an elaborate dream that somebody is having, or this is what they wish their life would turn into. This, I don't know if they're going to really make it happen. Oh, it seems like it's a sweet, sweet dream. Seven of Swords. It feels like somebody says, I'm lying to myself thinking that that'll ever happen. This may be a feminine who is telling herself that's never going to happen. She may daydream about this while she's folding up laundry in the evening. Hang on. Is it really just a fantasy land of what she wishes would happen? No, she is not the only one who thinks about this. We have got, again, the puff of smoke, and we got that Two of Pentacles. Someone else in their wildest dreams. Because, look, this is the first card we've had where we have a person, right? Everything else has been fantastical creatures. And I said, is it really only her who dreams of this, fantasizes about it? Nope, we got this little goblin fella who's popped in now. This is somebody else's completely like similar fantasy, complete with like, I don't know if they also want to listen to music on a record player or what that might be, but there's definitely like, you know, the something spinning real slowly, real, I don't know if somebody wants to just like sit there and, you know, kind of like zone out. You know, sometimes you like find yourself, if you're like drinking something and chit-chatting with somebody and you're like, you know, you're messing with the rim of the wine glass, making that little song that, you know, you can make sound come out of the rim of a wine glass as you're just messing around. I just feel like it's, you know, kind of this silly, slow, languid energy. Knight of Wands. Whomever this is, they want slow and, you know, like their fantasy is to move really gently and slow too, but then they also have kind of the equivalent of the kiss that they would like to have, because this is passion. We have two people fantasizing about each other, wishing that they could just be in each other's presence and then see where it goes from there. We have this Queen of Pentacles and, you know, a magical fairy. So they think of her. So we're going to call this Seven of Swords, this feminine who's like, this is such a ridiculous fantasy that I have. I mean, I'm sure this will never happen. It's just my brain goes there. But she's not the only one who has this fantasy. Right down to, you know, the perhaps romance, the spark of passion. And it's so funny because she is the Queen of Pentacles, who is a magical creature in their mind. Somebody who is this little mystical fairy. Who are they? Can I see who they are? They could be an earth sign too, since we did have that Two of Pentacles first. We have got a Two of Wands sideways. If they're going to be depicted by two cards, both of which have twos on them, then I would say they're definitely somebody, you know, this is a card of juggling. This is a card of trying to figure out which route to take. We see this person definitely fantasy again, you know, with these magical wands and this, it's almost like somebody feels like they have this grand quest in their life. I kind of feel like, I know it's a fantasy storyline right now, but it feels like we have this character who's wishing that they could be with this Queen of Pentacles. It appears that they themselves think of this as, you know, how lovely it would be to like follow this like divine quest that I have been on, right into the arms of somebody that I think was like meant for me. This whole, standing on the top of this mountain and having this magical scroll unfurl that says, this is what my life's quest has all been about. The fact that that's how they come across, like they believe she is somebody very special in this magical part of their life, but they also are kind of doubting it, right? It's like I'm indecisive about being indecisive. I kind of feel like the problem here is that we have two people, both of whom are like trying to tell themselves that this can't be magical. I'm not allowed to have this fantasy. But he's an emperor. And he's out here at nighttime having the same fantasies about her that she's having about him. You notice how, I will say, all their best thoughts flood their mind at night. These two, it's very sweet, and I picture the two of them, if they ever have the opportunity, if they ever make the opportunity, they would tuck themselves away. She has kind of like this very alluring, kind of like a fortune teller's, like wagon or something. And it just feels like the two of them would really enjoy the night. They would enjoy all the magical, mystical aspects of, like I said, cuddling up together, talking about all kinds of different random, comfortable things, talking till morning. He spends a lot of time walking through this fantasy, particularly at night. I feel like he may have an elaborate landscape in his mind that he goes through at night, imagining what it would be like if only he could like cuddle up with her. But I don't see why you can't. I think it's interesting that these two are busy fantasizing about each other and are not in each other's worlds. We have the Hanged Man. Hanged Man is pauses, it's delays. By the way, Piscean and Aries energy coming in for him. It doesn't matter what genders we're talking about. This could be same-sex couple, reverse gender roles, does not matter. But we do have him in this delayed energy of maybe contemplating things instead of really taking action. That Nine of Cups says the sleeping dragon has to awaken. It's interesting how he's a mythical creature himself until we get to his delays. You notice how each one of them, they're really good and really bold in their fantasy life, but when it comes to them as like people, she tells herself that's all a lie. He tells himself I should procrastinate. But when he imagines the night with her, when he imagines, the fantasy with her, then he's, an emperor. Then he's the dragon who just needs to awaken and, go and get his happiness and, cuddle her up in his dragon's lair. I feel like these two need to just make this thing happen, but they have such rich imaginations, and then they're not really taking action in daylight hours. I'm picturing him having some kind of like braided leather, like something like on a I don't know if it's a bracelet or if it's something like on a belt loop, something, like maybe it's a braided leather belt or something that like a tassel almost or something. Maybe it has car keys attached to it or something, or a wallet. But that braid, I don't feel like that's, I know here it's his hair, but I'm picturing like a braided leather something or other. Even here, when we see the scales of the dragon, I also still see braided leather. So I don't know if that's something that he has, something that he owns. Look, in his fantasies, he is a very powerful and bold and wise character, which is a great person to have as our alter ego and the person that we aspire to be. The only thing is, I don't know why he's not already that person. I think he's got like a great brain, a good imagination, but also like both of these characters seem to have respect for each other, warmth for each other, and their fantasies are just to be close to each other and sit with each other for a great length of time, sit in each other's energy, enjoy each other's sincere company, and then eventually get to like that very sweet kiss. And it just feels like that this shouldn't be such a far out of reach fantasy. It should be very possible. We have a 5 of Swords. Look, as this storyline sits, the idea of genuinely trying to, you know, reach out to each other, it brings up a lot of tension, like bad memories of, what has really happened in relationships and things in the past. I feel like that's maybe why these two are just existing in each other's fantasies. 7 of Cups in the reverse, but the Fool is upright. You know, here's the thing. I think both of them know one thing for sure. Living in a fantasy is certainly easier than taking real action in life, but neither one of them has this break from reality where they think, I'll just continue to live in my fantasy dreams. They both know at some point it's going to be time. It's going to be time to go ahead and take a real step forward or to leave this fantasy alone. Right now, they are one another's happy escapes, but that's not going to last. At some point, they're going to have to go ahead and decide what they're going to do about this. And it really, to me, this looks like that is coming at least by the beginning of like 2026. I mean, maybe not till Aries season, but let me get one more. Page of Cups. These two will talk. Here we go again with the mermaid. These two will talk. It might fall short of the magical fantasy because keep in mind, both of these characters are like, they visit each other in their fantasy ideas a lot, but they haven't yet started to make anything a reality. They haven't reached out to each other yet. When they finally do, and it appears she will receive a message from them, it could be less fantastical than the fantasy she's had in her head, but that's only because this has to start somewhere, right? It's not that it'll be disappointing, it's just that it's going to be a small starting point. Then they can start to gravitate toward the fantasy that they actually both want. It's so funny how I'm going to show this card upright, even though it presented itself in the reverse. They both know they're going to have to take off the masks. Definitely they have. He particularly knows he's going to have to take off the mask and talk to her. That's not coming right away, though. From what I can see in this, somebody may see a mask, they may see a witch's hat. There could be like a dragon figurine or something, or even like a big dragonfly, because we had that fairy also, and I'm picturing like a fairly large bug with wings. It doesn't have to be a dragonfly, but like a flying ant or something. But that could be another thing that comes up today. I know somebody actually has a scimitar or is going to be chopping something with an overly large knife in the kitchen. Be careful, because she's got like a little tiny apple in a hand, but she's got this gigantic sword to chop it up with. So be mindful in the kitchen. Don't choose a knife that's way bigger than what the job is. And I don't know if somebody's listening to Little Mermaid or seeing that film, but that shows up here as well. All right. I'm wishing these two the best. You guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.